I am now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Welcome back to another episode of Under the Sun and Moon with Michelle and Kes. I am Kes.
And I am Michelle.
Okay. I don't know which side of your screen you're on for you, because
I'm on my right.
Okay, you're on my left. So I didn't want to like point to a side and have it be wrong, even though if I point, it doesn't really look like I'm doing anything.
Okay.
So really quickly, we're doing this over Zoom, and if you see me keep looking over here, it's because I'm looking over here to make sure that I'm still in focus. But if I look here, I'm looking at mom.
Yeah, and I look well, we're in the middle. You're here and I'm here. No.
Yeah. And like I'm doing this from my desktop, so I have another monitor over here that you can't see. So people are here, reading is here.
Okay.
Now that we have that covered. Last week, not even last
Do we
week.
say we're doing this from home? We're doing
Yeah.
this from our home. So welcome to the Zoom version of the podcast.
Yes.
Because there's only a handful of degrees outside.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Like,
so if you have any degrees that you're willing to loan us, we'd be happy to borrow them for a little while.
Is it still in the negatives?
No, but it's in the positives with like only one
single digit.
It's below 10, which is why I'm in bed.
And that's why I'm in my office.
My woolly jumper on.
Yeah. I'm still wearing like
my
pajama pants
sweater, yeah.
And a sweatshirt because it's freaking cold. I'm
surprised you're not in the living room with the fireplace on.
I know, but I didn't like this is easier with the two screens. And plus I gotta stay here anyway because I have other work I gotta do. But but yeah, I could have had my fireplace on, but I chose to be here.
Every time you move, your camera's like blurry and clear. It's capturing you. It's working to focus. You're blurry, and now you've cleared up. You're blurry clear. Yeah.
Because I have my not sponsored. I have my Logitech webcam. On top of my right monitor, which is the one that we're on. So if I go too far to over one side or too far over here, you can see it a little bit. It'll just like
it gets blurry.
Huh?
It gets blurry.
It gets blurry if I go too far to one side. So I have like a I'm trying to look and see where I am, like a middle ground, like right here.
It's like eyeglasses. There's,
yeah,
they have an area that's better, and if I get my glasses ground out to the edge so that when I look this way, it's still in focus, which is really expensive when you have trifocals, which is why my glasses are 6 years old. But moving on.
You know what it's called?
The timers are ticking.
I know. There you go. It's called aperture. That's what it's called.
Aperture. Well, on a camera.
On a camera, it's called aperture. On glasses, it's called prescription.
It's called field of vision.
Field of vision.
Yeah, I believe that's what it's called.
So, I said last week, but not even last week, like 3 days ago, I brought up the topic that I wanted to talk about today because I've come to the realization that also, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you. I've come to the realization that I am 22 years old and I'm of a younger group of people. I'm in the much younger adults. You're in
the target audience for most marketers.
Yeah, I'm in the target audience for most marketers. And
which is funny because you don't have any money.
No, I know. But I have come to realize that in terms of like trends and like the age group that I'm in makes a lot of trends. With trends comes communication and social media and things like that, which comes to slang. And I don't know like almost any slang that my age group has created. Like there are just some things that I just don't get.
You're out of touch with it.
Yeah.
Or you're not interested in it.
Yeah. Or it just doesn't make sense.
So what got you to this realization?
A few things. One of them was like really sitting down, because like I've gotten a lot better at social media use over the past, like, I think specifically a year. Because like I usually, just hit my knee. I usually use it to like keep up with family members and friends and things like that. But now I use it more strictly for business and like sharing my life and being a creative person and just an artist. And social media has been super helpful with that. But learning how to use it also means seeing how other people use it to know what to do and what not to do and how I can make things individual. But seeing other people use it, it's in terms of like I said, communication. Like when you look at captions of photos or you look at captions of TikToks or anything like that, some of them are weird, specifically because of the type of words that they use.
Okay, so can you give us some examples?
So I told you this like 2 days ago, where on Twitter specifically, I kept seeing the abbreviation IYK come up in tweets.
Right.
And I was like, in my brain, I would read it as a word. I was like, ick yick. Like, what the hell is this?
And you told me this the other day, and I was like, if you know, and you followed with,
if you know, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Sorry, not impressed. I'm not impressed.
I was just
I'm flipping through Insta. I see LOL. Duh.
Yeah.
That's the one that, you know.
Oh.
I think it's, you know, slang is that I think we talked about this a little bit off camera when we were talking about, I think we've missed our mark because you were like, I need to rant about this. And you're like, not as hyped up as I thought you would be. But it's no, but it's a big thing, right? So language is a living thing because it's a reflection of culture. So culture influences language and language influences culture. And so because it's constantly changing and moving with us, because we're incorporating new words or changing words, this is the kind of thing that you get. And when you have access to, you know, devices, and we're on a computer and there's things like social media, and you get exchanges of communication very quickly, what you end up with is language changing very quickly. One of the most popular things, of course, when it comes to social media is like the abbreviations that you talked about, right? So IYKYK, LOL is an old one, but it's very much still around.
Or OMG.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Probably because it's still verbal. Like a lot of people say, "Oh my God," or "Oh my gosh." It's just it was part of language before the abbreviation existed. The abbreviation came because it existed. LOL did not. LOL is specifically born out of the digital age because you can't communicate emotion well in written language, especially when you're doing little brief things. So if you say LOL, it means you're laughing out loud. I wonder how many people post LOL but haven't actually LOL.
There's a meme about that. There's a
Although
whole thing.
when I write it to you, I'm totally laughing out. But you know that
No,
because you
yeah.
know me.
Yeah. I act like there's a lot of people, like, again, there's a meme, like a whole worldwide running joke where people will be like texting like lol or lol, and they're just like stone face. Like they're not actually reacting the way that they're texting.
Right.
But yeah, I was about to say, when you said that LOL was specifically born out of the digital age, I was like, it has to be, because I've never heard anybody be like, I'm laughing out loud right now. Like in person, that just sounds stupid. Like,
right, but that's a good example of the way that culture, what's happening in our lives is influencing language.
And to like bring this back around, if anybody else doesn't know or doesn't remember, you have a degree in linguistics. You studied language.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do have a bachelor's in linguistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking through, because I have this article on the other page of my my computer, and I was looking through it, like a list of like popular slang terms specifically for like the past year. And one of the other ones that I mentioned to you a few days ago was STG. And I was like, again, I saw it on Twitter because I feel like that's where I see a ton of them. It's either Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok.
Well, I've never been on Twitter, but does Twitter still limit the number of characters? Used to be like 140 characters or 160 characters, and that included spaces.
It's now limited to like 300 something.
Okay, but that's a lot.
But also people have found a way around it because, people are smart when it comes to technology. Like a good portion of them are. So if they want to post something really long, they'll start what's called a thread. So.
And then they'll repost and repost and repost.
Yeah, so they'll have their main tweet and then reply to their tweet as themselves, and then just keep going and going and going if they're trying to make a point.
Okay, I gotcha.
So yeah. Thank you. So STG stands for swear to God.
Oh.
And again, didn't know that until like a month ago. Like,
why would you know that?
I don't know. Again, like people think I'm in like the correct age bracket for some of these things to happen, or for some of these things to just be understood, and I'm like, not a clue.
There's other things though, like idiomatic expressions. Right. Yeah. So she's laughing at me because I bring this up all the time. So an idiom is a phrase. It could be one word that's used differently, or it could be a phrase that is not its literal meaning. And the most common one that I can think of is fire. That is totally on fire.
Oh, that's fire, or that's lit, or
is something really on fire? No, it just means that you really, really like it, like a lot. So that's, that she's laughing, but that's probably a really common one. Or cool. Dude, that is so cool. Are you touching it? No. Does it have to do with temperature at all? No.
I want to bring up one that I've actually like legitimately started to understand within the past few days. Like this is a super new one for me. And I want to see if you can figure out what it means as well, just by hearing it. There's been this thing where it's like.
So I'm being tested. Okay, great.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the definition because I now know what it means.
Cool. Yeah.
What do you think cap means?
Can you use it in a phrase? Like, how is it being used?
Okay, so like
that's cap, or
so
it's a cap.
So it's used in the term of like, say you're watching a football game and somebody is talking about a play that didn't actually happen. Okay. Like they interpret it a different way. Somebody's like, oh, that's cap.
Oh, I got nothing.
Cap means that's a lie.
That's not a lie, or it is a lie?
It is a lie. So like, oh, that person threw an interference. Oh, that's cap. That's a lie. they're lying about him.
What the origin of that is.
I don't know. But
if anyone knows what the origin of this phrase is, please feel free to comment.
And so when on the other flip side of it, when somebody says like, let's see, I definitely, like, I studied for that test last night, no cap.
Oh,
that means I'm not lying about it. I actually studied for the test.
That I would have understood better.
Yeah.
But still. Okay. All right. Remember the one I said to you?
The one you said to me.
Because the OG.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and this is like what you just used the example of, like, I'm wondering what the origin of that is. So if we do LOL, it literally translates into laugh out loud. It's just shortened into its letters and made into that abbreviation. But cap comes from something else. So when people started talking about the OG, like, that is she's the OG. Yeah. And I was like, old grandma? Like, what? That doesn't seem like a favorable thing to say. And so I asked you and Wyatt. I'm pretty sure Wyatt was there. And
yeah, you asked him because you didn't ask me.
Yeah, and it was, Mom, that means original gangster. And I'm like, that's not good. Is that a good thing? Doesn't sound like a good thing.
In today's,
apparently it is.
Yeah, it is. I was about to say, like, it's considered to be a good thing. Granted.
So everyone out there in Under the Sun and Moon land, I'm the OG. I know it doesn't work, does it?
It sounds condescending in my brain. So,
but with that, you have to know not only what those letters stand for, but you need to know why that's a good thing. Like, there's more meaning behind it. So it's separated another stage again,
right,
from where it started.
So another
one. Okay.
Another one that I know, we both know exactly what this is, and I think you're drinking it right now.
Oh, right. Yeah. So this is something that your generation uses. You started telling me this maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah. And
Mom, I've got some tea to spill. And the first time I heard it, I was like, I think she wants to tell me something.
Yeah. That's out of a lot of them, that's one of my favorites.
In my brain, this is what's happening. This is what's happening in my brain. Okay, try not to look old and stupid. Okay, honey, great.
But now you and I both know, obviously, it's like, oh, we have gossip to talk about.
Gossip, right.
And like, that's one of the ones that I feel like I caught on to pretty quickly.
So you're so proud of yourself.
I know, because like a lot of them I'm like, let's see. I'm looking at, what are we at for time?
We are at 11 minutes. We're still doing really well.
Oh, okay. So one that was specifically brought up by my cousins, when I heard it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it sounds like you have a disease. Is drip.
Right.
You remember that whole thing?
Yes, with your cousin's pants.
Yeah.
He was actually talking to your grandmother.
Yeah, he was talking to grandma.
She's like, Grandma, you have drip. And I was like, okay, I think this, because it's his tone, his body language implied that it was a positive thing.
Right.
But I had no idea what that meant.
Right. In my brain, I was like, does she need medicine? Like, I don't know.
So, but it sounded like a good thing. Mm-hmm. He was pointing at her outfit.
Right.
The more hilarious part of it was when my then 70-year-old mother was trying to learn the phrase and use it herself. Only my nephew kept telling her, that's not what it is. So that always tells you a phrase isn't very good if someone tries to learn it and reuse it and they get it wrong repeatedly, no matter how old they are. Maybe you need to rethink that. There were phrases like that, like when I was a teenager, it was totally tubular.
What?
Which meant that it totally tubular. That means that it's
Tubular.
fun. Yeah.
Wow.
Something that you really are excited about. Bitchin'.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's totally rad.
Rad. Dude, that's totally rad.
I use that now.
That was more like late 80s into the 90s, and it actually comes from the word radical. So it's but it's not really radical. I mean, but for mainstream pasty white Americans, probably whatever it was seemed really radical. But yeah, so that's those were some of the phrases that we used. Chill, that was a big one, and chill pill in the 90s. You need to take a chill pill, which your father hated. Don't tell me
that. I just had one pop into my head. Shoot. Can't remember. But
a lot of them seem to be tied to hashtags too.
Yeah, like I was just gonna bring up another one because this one does make sense, like the way it sounds, but the way it's spelt, I had to look up.
Okay.
Actually, there's two of them. The first one I'm gonna say, you've probably heard it before.
Okay.
It's period. But
can you explain that to me? But it's got a T on the end.
Yeah, that one.
What the hell is that?
Okay.
Explain. So I have a friend on Facebook that I went to college with, and she writes that, and I'm always like, I think that's like to put like an emphasis on it, like totally done.
Yeah, it's an emphasis, but it's also to be like period. That's a fact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like or another like this this site that I'm looking at, it also says it's described to be as a way of saying end of discussion.
The problem is that when I read those things, I say them.
Oh, I'm so like period.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. Am I supposed to be able to say this? I don't think I'm supposed to be able to say this. Is it only for writing? So that's interesting too, because that translates into the digital culture again, which also means that what happens if you're visually impaired and you have a device that's reading those things out to you?
Yeah, a lot of them
sound.
It's honestly like
some of these things, getting
some of these things are super ableist, which I'm not for. But like the ones that specifically are spelt weird, like this other one I'm going to tell you, finna,
right,
drives me insane because finna means I'm going to do something. So it's like,
okay,
I'm probably going to say this wrong because I just don't know how to use it, but I'm describing it the way.
Don't worry, people will tell us we screwed it up.
Right. I'm saying it the way that it's been described to me. It's like, I'm finna go into that party tonight.
Oh, so it's like an emphasis too, like,
yeah.
Because when you say it like that, it sounds like, oh, I am absolutely going to be there.
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Be there with bells on. Will I actually be wearing bells? No. That's an idiomatic expression. So I'm wondering how these things sound and feel to people who are visually impaired when they're I mean, because there's an application that reads that text. Does it say period T? And now I'm picturing it in the Siri voice.
Yeah.
So he's not coming back here again, period T.
Yeah.
Or does the computer try to say period? I wonder how that comes out.
I don't know.
Does it translate? Do you need to see it in order to get it?
I have no idea. Because like also with things like, honestly, just because of how advanced we are in like the digital age, like if something is
advanced because we're de-evolving.
Yeah, I know.
Because of computers.
I know, but I'm saying like when something is written out in Braille, like there, like how that doesn't make sense because it's meant for the fully able-bodied person, which it shouldn't be. I think it should be way more inclusive.
People many moons ago through the Albany County Department of Health. We had some clients who were hearing impaired. You don't meet a lot of hearing impaired people, and I have had a lot of jobs and worked in a lot of different environments. And occasionally I've worked with someone who's fully hearing impaired. But they tend to form their own communities because we are excluding them somehow that we're not aware of. So if anything, this conversation really points out to me how incredibly prevalent that is.
Right.
Because if it only translates correctly, if you can both hear it and see it, what's the use in that?
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
So do we like slang or do we not like slang?
Okay, I'm gonna try not to be biased about it. But I think
and make no mistake, just because we use it doesn't mean we love it.
No, yeah.
It's a cultural thing that's
right.
deeply ingrained in us.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Okay. So I think that slang can be fun, obviously, if used, one, non-offensively, two, like in a way that makes sense.
Inclusively?
Huh? Yeah, inclusively. That's what it was. Yeah. So non-offensively, inclusively, and excuse me. And in a way that's, well, solely for the sake of like communication. Because like there's slang that out there that I feel like people, God, how do I want to explain this? I don't even know.
I don't know. I think there are different levels too, and different branches of communication. You know, like if it's communication just between you and I, right? There are certain ways that people communicate with each other when they're, and again, this is tied to culture because it has to do with familiarity and relationships. And so we communicate with each other a certain way that we may not, or probably would not communicate with someone that we're doing business
with. Yeah.
Because there are these different layers of acceptance regarding the way that you're supposed to behave physically and then to communicate verbally. So there, again, you got visual tied with auditory.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. But yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting. I'd like to hear what other people have to say about this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like because of the dynamic that you and I have, because like you and I are from two different like generations. It'd be interesting to obviously hear like people from my age group, my generation.
I'm X and you're Z.
Yeah.
The millennials are in between us.
Yeah. So I think it'd be really interesting to hear what, again, people from my age group versus what people from your age group, like how they hear things differently. Because when you said tubular, in my brain, I was like, what? And then when
I could be wrong. I'd love to hear from someone about this. I'm going to say this without even looking it up, but I believe that tubular is related to surfing and like shooting the tube when the wave rolls over and the excitement and the challenge involved in that. I'm almost positive that that's where that phrase originates from. Being someone who's never been near surfing culture, because I'm in upstate New York and in you know, in the North Atlantic, we don't surf.
Yeah, no. I feel like that's
some people do, but they're, you know.
I feel like I don't know if
people do it where it's warm weather.
I was about to say I don't know if it's just because of like media and things like that, but I picture surfing. God, I picture surfing as either Florida or West Coast.
Hawaii.
And Hawaii, yeah.
Oh, man, I know I've said it before, but I miss Wide World of Sports.
We ran out of time.
Well, I did start it a little bit early right before we started recording.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got to where you wanted to go with this?
I did, yeah, because I feel like it led into a bigger conversation about just language and culture and how language is going to change, whether like we or I or you keep up with it very well or not.
Right. Yeah.
But that's how the world turns. That's one of the way the world turns. But
although that's not exactly how the world turns.
No, I'm saying
that is an idiomatic expression.
That's okay.
I know.
It's so stressful. Okay, so what's happening next week or next time? Do you know?
What is happening next time? What did we talk about?
We talked about I don't remember what we talked about.
I know, right?
I have no idea.
Well, there's a couple of things that we want to discuss, right? There's always stuff in our minds. One of the things that I'd like to do this season is interview some of the local business people.
Yeah.
And highlight them and have a talk with them. So I'd really like to have a chance to interview Allie from Allie's Bridal and Steve Douglas and Tracy about opening a brewery, which sounds like daunting to me. And then some of the other business people that have been in town for a while.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to talk to Moose Mizuraka. Family business has been in the village for over 100 years. So everything in between, but some of the other stuff I think that we want to discuss has to do with social justice, right? Because we're always having those conversations. We want to talk about music, of course, and movies and TV and all kinds of other things. We got stuff on tap.
On tap.
On
tap.
Yep.
All right. And I think on that note,
she says, I know.
This
has been another episode of Under the Sun and Moon.
Yes. What she said. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.